Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a little while. Of course, earlier just dropped some giveaway videos, small ones, reminders of the big ones. Um, Gonna probably continue to do some giveaways, some bigger giveaways, quicker, ramping things up. We're going to be moving soon, so that means if you haven't seen my inventory, I have a lot of stuff I have got to move. So be aware, gonna have probably giveaway after giveaway after giveaway as long as I have the free time to make the videos and manage the giveaways. Um, but without further ado, let's go ahead and do PSA Guess the Grade. Granted, we're looking less and less likely to send the rest of our cards to PSA unless they're going to budge on the prices, but that's a whole nother story. Let's go ahead and begin. So if you don't know, lately we like to begin with a coin. Sorry, we've been on vacation, by the way. That's why we've had the gigantic delay in videos and such. So we like to start with a coin. Now this is a newer Chansey coin. It's based on the original, of course. Of course, the original was a type of cardboard. Now they do it, or for this one they did it with a plastic. Um, it's not it's not pretty to look at. It's really not even pretty to kind of like hold on to. The issue we have is with these newer coins, there's no year mark on them, so it's a little bit harder to identify. I have to do some digging on the internet to try and find this coin. Now you can see right at the bat there is an edge nick. So the coin probably is going to definitely take a point off for that, maybe even two. So I think really based on everything besides the edge, if it wasn't for the edge nick, I would put it in the 9 category, possible 10, because there's actually very little surface damage, mainly some here, I guess, but really the front, it's very, pretty clean to look at. So we're going to guess with that nick now, somewhere between 7 and 8, and the coins are just so much harder to grade, in my opinion, compared to the cards. Because even the PSA is like, we don't really have a standard, just like guess, and we'll guess, and hopefully it's what you wanted. So moving on, I don't know if other graders do these, so this may be actually the only reason why I stick to PSAs. I do know PSA will grade your art boxes, and again, we're not fully certain what to look for necessarily, besides of course the classic centering, which centering is um, not perfect. Hold on, my cameras are gonna freak out if I don't get this right. There we go. Much clearer to look at. And there's like smudge, but this smudge, these are all pack pull um, art box series, and this smudge sort of thing is on all of them. I remember them as a kid, so I don't know how they grade against these sort of smudge lines, because it's just kind of inbuilt like to how it's made. This one looks pretty good. Centering's a little off, but not as atrocious as some of the others. Really, I mean, I guess it's miscut. But I see a lot of them where it's mainly border here and almost no border up top. So going off what we kind of have to go off of for Pokemon art boxes, this one probably 8 to 10. I know it's kind of vague with that two number difference guess, but really, one, it's been a while since we've done this. We've been on vacation, and two, we just don't know what we're looking for necessarily because there's really not good standards put out for these. Okay, so next is Artbox Premiere Series Radicate. Man, I have just a ton of video content. I mean, that's what's great about vacation ideas, right? And centering a little bit off left to right. But again, you see top to bottom, it's very common to where there's almost nothing up top. So I don't know. And then it's weird. It's like it's almost crooked. So I'd say 7 to 8 for this one. But yeah, had a lot of different ideas, a lot of different topics came up. I really do want to address I wanted to address it as soon as I heard about it, but I was like, I'm going on vacation. I don't want to start all that, blah, 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 blah. And then more stuff started to unfold. If you don't know, it was a while ago. It was like, geez, 5, 6 weeks ago. The maybe even longer. The Logan Paul Charizard he wore to the fight, and him claiming the value of it, and then him bringing it to the fight makes it worth more. This one's definitely way less smudge lines. This one's way cleaner to look at, so that kind of helps. The centering is pretty decent for art box series. Oh, and see, now we've got that. So now we're sitting more in this one 9 to 10 category, so more solid. It's a more solid guess, in my opinion. My only disappointment in this one is, and again, it's not to be graded against, but there's no Machamp. He goes from Machop to Machoke in this one, but he doesn't go to Machamp. So kind of disappointing. But we're gonna say 9 to 10 on this one. That was pretty good shape for an art box series. And then last for our art boxes is our sealed dugong, and this is not Premier. This is Series 1s, which really, if you're trying to make money off these or just collect these or really hunt these down, you want the Series 1s over the Premiers. To me, they look better. There's I like the Series 1s more than the Premiers myself. So there's some smudge lines. It's hard to really kind of get a gauge on the centering on this. It looks pretty good to me. You got your smudge lines, but you don't have a lot of wear. As I said, a lot of these were pack opes. It's like crooked, but other than that, like, again, maybe like 8 to 10. And it's just, I know the PSA, the PSA is atrocious on centering. Like, they don't seem to care so much as like if there's a gigantic gash across your item, but if your centering is off, the PSA goes nuts. And I think that's kind of just something to consider. I guess if I wanted to have the ultimate graded card, like if you wanted to do an ultimate test of label, like label grade, like, you know, and that's, again, label grading will be something I explain later. I said 8 to 10. We'll say 8 to 9 for that one. Seem a little more realistic. The label grading, in my opinion, and this is when you're talking about value differences, right? Like a CGC 10 is worth less than a PSA 10, and a PSA 10 is worth less than a BGS Black Label 10. But then also it depends if it, you know, and that's a whole other thing. We'll talk about that later in my video about Load Pulse Charizard. But I guess, you know, if you consider, if you want the ultimate difficulty graded card, the supreme all be all is to get all of the grading card companies to agree to grade a certain section of a card. So like if your PSA grade the centering, and PSA checks off 10 centering across the board by PSA, and then like surface for BGS, and BGS checked surface 10 out of 10. And then you have like CGC, I don't know what CGC's known to be tough for. All right, to the cards that everyone liked, but essentially you could do something like that. Centering's off left to right, top to bottom's fine. Surface looks really good. Tyranitar's a really like a heavy favorite. He's kind of like the Earth version of Charizard to a lot of people, or I guess the armor version of Charizard. It's so funny, the pictures, they make him look huge, but he's only 6'7", although he is a tank at 445 pounds. So centering's off, service is great. Everything looks very clean. I like how his thing for Fates Collide looks almost like another rarity symbol. How is his back? His back looks even cleaner. There is some whiting. It kind of varies things around, shifts things around. Centering is what really kills it. The whiting does some you know, damage to the grade, but oof, it's kind of hard. 7 to 8. Again, it's been a while, and the PSA standards have been all over the place. Okay, up next, another favorite. Now, I murdered with these, in my opinion. I got a bunch of the sets when they were super cheap before everything really was catching up, people blowing up. So you could pick these up as a whole set for all 3 cards for like 20 bucks, which this is from one of those sets. So super clean. Nice, just nice. Whew, super clean. Centering looks perfect. Oh, that came right off. And oh no, was that a little bit of damage? Let me take a look. I'm almost afraid. So, and the centering is a little off top, the bottom on the back. But there it is. There it is. No, focus on the card. Focus on the card, not the mat. Focus on the card. There it is. The itty bitty race cardboard. But we'll see. I'll send it in. I'll say 9 to 10. Really, you want these in 10. I'm starting to see these really pick up even just in 8s. I think it was 2 of these Typhlosions in 10s. I should never have sold those. But lesson learned, it is what it is. So we'll say 9 to 10 for that wonderful, sexy Typhlosion. Moving on. Yeah, I do have some stuff from the Matchless Fighters already in a pickup. There's some reasons for that. So this is the V Articuno. I believe it's Galarian Articuno. So I know usually you don't see my new pull so soon in the sets I'm sending off. But the reason why is there was a beat up card when I was examining this pile, like it was too beat up, and I didn't really want to put it in, so that card will become a giveaway card. I'm just gonna say 10. That's a fresh pack pull. Like there's like almost no way that's a 10 or not a 10. So we will say 10. And the card I had to pull out from that was, sadly, this Magikarp Wailord GX. I could have sworn this was one of my pulls, but maybe it wasn't. And so there's a good dent right up there, which from that alone, I was kind of like, yeah, maybe it wasn't one of my pulls. But then when I pulled it out, I saw like there was whiting and stuff. I'm like, yeah, this wasn't one of my pulls. This was probably from someone's binder with the more modern cards. And awesome red Gyarados sleeve, by the way, so that'll be a part of that giveaway card later. So we've got a Kyurem. This is a Kyurem or Kyurem. I'm sorry, guys. He's a newer Pokemon to me, and so I don't know how to pronounce him, and that's just my ignorance, and I apologize. And he is from Dragon Majesty set. It's decent looking. It looks super clean for a card from 2018, and maybe this one was one of my pack pulls. No, I don't think I've had Dragon Majesty on the show. Okay, so maybe not. Okay, so a little bit of whiting. Other than that, like centering's really good. Dang, I could say 8 to 9 on that one, and really kind of closer to the 9 side on that guess, to be honest. Okay, so we'll just say 9. Just like I feel as though it's really solid. Alright, next up, and this is just something you always gotta pay attention to. I don't think I cared. I think this is probably from a binder. German Doug Trio, Digtree, Schleitzer, Urbiben, yeah, love it. Everything's there though. Centering looks fantastic. Not a scratch on the hollow, just kidding. Some whiting on the back. Some chips here. That kind of ruins it. That puts us in the 6 to 7 category, and then some scratches on the wax. I am going to send this to the CGC. That's what I'm going to do to this one. So I will mark it for... First, we gotta give it a grade. I'm gonna just keep it on the list, but send it. I don't know, like 7 to 8 C. CGC. I'm not trying to be mean to the CGC. I just they're known as a lower grader, and you know they're working on fixing that. And granted, it doesn't help. There's probably marketing that's actually paid by like the PSA to negatively advertise against. It's a not unknown thing, guys. Like people do it all the time. Big companies do it all the time. This is a one Flareon, especially this one specifically, really was and is still an awesome card. Like no one really knows why they decided to throw in these extra colors for a fire champ with the green and the purple blue and the red for its holo, but they did, and they really kind of caught Flareon in my opinion. Just Flareon in the show was kind of like an uptight Pokemon, and still just in this like almost like, yeah, I'm leaping but who cares, not excitement sort of view. Really awesome in terms of capturing all that. Centering were straight, hollowed straight. Ooh, the top though is murderous. If it wasn't for the top, I was about to say 10. Top and corner uprise. Now, I still think I'm going to send this to the PSA. And it sucks because if it wasn't for those last two bits of the end, like looking at 10. However, with those last few bits, that's a lot of whiting on the top. And strong chips, in my opinion. Those are some strong chips. I don't want to say 8. Oh, it hurts to do this. I think it might just be a flat 6. Even that might be high. I honestly don't know. Alright, so base set Machamp. And one of the things too with base set Machamp that you should really look for is seeing if there's any sort of printing error. So there's some rumors sometimes you'll find a Cosmos pattern Machamp. Something usually wrong with the stamp. It'll be a light stamp, a thick stamp, a thin stamp, a print stamp, a through stamp, a double stamp. Alright, so we've got a lot of silvering on this one. I'm not noticing any typing errors. Granted, there's always like things that like you really have to know, like be super knowledgeable on. So like one of the things, and it wasn't specifically for this card, but one of the things that like Vintage Pokemon Hunter Brothers pointed out, he had a good he recently just had a very good like error card, like things to look out for. And sometimes they put the wrong illustrator, and like you really have to be paying attention. Like that's why when I was originally organizing my cards, I would just put all of the same card on top of each other, because then you have a higher chance of seeing that. Wait a second, the illustrator on these other 5 Machamps was Ken Sugimori, but this one was Kyle David. Who the heck is that? So like, yeah, just something to look out for. Centering is off on the back. There is some, it's like scattered nicks everywhere, which kind of makes it hard. 7 might be high, but I think it's possible, and I think we'll go with it. I'll reiterate to maybe CGC. Now, some of you might also think, well, it's really nefarious to use certain graders to get higher grades. And I'll agree. Yeah, it absolutely is, especially depending on how the value is. But the risk is there because, and everyone's kind of aware of that too, the risk is there. And that's another thing I want to talk about in terms of label value grading, right? And so, like, it's a whole nother thing. I'll just briefly talk about what I'm doing it here. So I'm going to do it more in depth in another video. And it's really lizard Pokemon, nice. It's a really good Shadowless. I wish it was first edition. That would be double dope. Centering's a little off left or right, but nothing crazy. Oh, the back is super clean too. There's a little bit of whiting there. A little bit of whiting. 8 to 9. It was slower than like 10, but yeah, 8 to 9. That's still pretty good for a Shadowless Charmander, and you can always like wait and these can pop up in price. So 9's probably a little high, but I'm still going to guess at 8 to 9. And so as I was saying with label grading, you know, like there's risks involved, right? So like one of the big things is a lot of BGS high grades or any grade BGS will have a lower count than PSA, especially recently, like in the past 5 years. And people will be like, well, clearly it means the BGS is a harder grader. No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. There's a lot of scratches on this, but that wouldn't be a huge issue. But I'm seeing some scary uprise there. All right, so yeah, there's some heavy uprise all around it. I can't really put a guess on this. I'm not going to send this to PSA. This will probably be a giveaway card later, I'm thinking. I think it will be. So let's go ahead and make that giveaway card. Does for me with this Ante, no matter who I send it to, like this Ante is very hard to get a 10. So when it hits a 10, it's worth something. 9's still worth something. As you get to 8, it almost costs you more to get graded and stuff. And I'd rather make someone's day and give them this Ante. It's still a nice card. It's still a great Pokemon. It's still an older card. It's from 2001, so it's still a really good card, really good giveaway. So I'll move that over to the side. I'm sorry. I keep essentially label grading in a sense. Depending on a lot of people how they advertise it isn't fair in my opinion. So for example, BGS, especially recently, will have a lower pop count for grades compared to PSA. As more people have used PSA for like the same card, for example. So we'll say Charizard, right? And so the other reason why there might not be as many sent in is due to the cost. So BGS charges a little more to grade each card. And so if you have a larger amount of something sent in for an average, it's going to pop up with more grades. And so if you have PSA and like it has like a bunch of 9s and the BGS only had 10 of that card sent in and only one of them made 9 versus the thousands that were sent into PSA and 100 of them made 9, it'll make it look like the PSA is more lenient on their grades and the BGS is less lenient. This is just something I don't like, and it's one of the things that's been going around with that Charizard that Logan Paul has. And I don't like that Gary King Pokemon, the Gary, one of the original Pokemon collectors, the older gentleman. I don't like the fact that he even basically states that this is really nice Gyarados. I hate the centering's off, but everything about this Giovanni's Gyarados is super clean. And that's just one of the things I really don't like is that he's even kind of perpetuating, because Gary King Pokemon even states he knows Logan Paul personally. He's revealing how Logan Paul got that card. I think he may have already dropped that in another video recently. And what I don't like, just centering's off. Other than that, really nice card. I have to say 9. I would say 10, but the centering is really far off, and to the point they may even say no, you get an 8 or less, which is bull crap, because that's a really clean card. Oh, there's super strong swirl, like triple, double swirl layer right there. And I really don't like the fact, so, that's the thing about Logan Paul's Charizard. There's like only 3 of the BGS Charizards, and so and before the third one was found by Logan Paul, Gary was offering $750,000 for whoever had the third one, and no one came up. You know what my opinion on that matter is, or my theory? My theory is, I didn't pull this out of the sleeve yet. My theory is Gary had the third BGS 10 Charizard the whole time, and I think Gary put out that asking price to raise the value of all of his 2 other BGS Charizards. I know Gary doesn't always sell his Pokemon. He likes to highly collect them, make them impossible to see sometimes lately. There's a lot of stuff going on with this card. It'd be more tempting if it was hollow. Like, there's some smudges and stuff that, like, I feel like this card has had water damage. Yeah, some things don't feel right about this card. This is just gonna be another giveaway card. So some lucky person will get the chance to win this. But I don't like the fact that, you know, Gary wanted to buy the third BGS Gold Charizard for $750,000, and no one came forward to owning it, and I just find that very highly unlikely. And I think Gary's the one who owned it, and then he let that price sink and ravel for a while, and then he became buddies with Logan Paul and let him perpetuate the hobby, and then even brought it out. Oh, wait, this is in way worse shape than I thought it was. The back is so clean. So the back is super clean, but when you look at the front, you miss it because there's so much going on here. This is really upsetting because I don't remember having a bad break card, but this break card's in really bad shape due to this right here. That's rough, and I like break cards. Man, I did videos almost a year ago on how break cards were going to be a great investment, and they were and still are, but I doubt I caused this damage. It's possible I did, but I don't think I did. That's rough. So this will be another great giveaway card. Wow. That's aggravating. That's really aggravating because I didn't expect to have that many issues in this pile up. Especially my Ninetales break card. I was expecting to be really clean. Oh wait, this one on the other hand, I do know is clean, just there's not too much to have to look at. So it's a Shadowless Growlithe, puppy Pokemon. Centering top to bottom's a little off, left to right's fine. Rest of the card's in great condition. Tiny white eyes, some heavier whitening there. We'll say 8 to 9. 8's probably more accurate, but we'll say 8 to 9. I think that's fair. But at least I didn't have to give him away. Man, that's lame. Oh, wait, Dark the Trio. This one, hollow in my opinion, is awesome. I mean, granted, it's interesting because they're breaking into someone's room, probably a kid's room. It's Pokemon. Centering looks fine. The surface looks fine. Digs large sinkholes in the ground and tries to trap its enemies in them. Awesome. I wonder if for the Team Rocket series, if this matters. If you don't know, for some cards that matters in terms of adding to its collectability and value. I don't know if that applies to the Dark series, but I'll have to find out later. Okay. Back looks good. Oh, nice some whiting. I think just a solid, just a solid 8. And see, that's the thing too. If you're buying cards from people, you know, especially high value cards, a lot of them will like to take their pictures like this and just be like, hey man, can you put like your hand behind, see how no whiting, big chip, no whiting, big chip. And so you really just gotta be aware of that. Really take your time depending on how you buy your cards, who you're buying your cards from. I've had a lot of people who are resellers and they'll claim it was their collection and they didn't pay much attention to it and they'll sell it to you, and then you'll notice some damage on some other cards. And really, you know, just if you're trying to buy bulk like how I do, okay, so Hydreigon, I'm feeling some damage. I'm not happy about that. I feel damage. The front looks fine. Again, a lot to look at. a lot of people did not take to break cards. There's too much going on. It's horizontal. I think, you know, Pokemon's already going over the top anyways with the hyper rares and the teaming and the rainbows and the giants and the V Maxes and the rainbow giants and the rainbow team giants. I think break cards was their best way of saying screw it. Let's just go super duper over the top. And I like break cards. They're completely different. They're horizontal versus vertical. Alright, so there's some whitening there, some stuff there, and a little bit of corner raise there. It's not as collectible as the Ninetales, but I still think I'm going to send him. Guessing a grade for him is kind of hard, though. Perhaps just 7. Hold on. It looks like there's some stuff that got stuck in there. Alright, it should be fine. So we'll say 7. Now, there's a lot of announcements, guys. One of the ones being is, if you don't know, we're one of the AMC apes for the AMC Ape Nation. So one of the things that we're probably going to do very soon, even though we have a few graded cards at the facility at the moment, we're going to go ahead and eBay bid off all of our graded cards we have, besides my one ruler card, which is my Magneton that I use as a ruler system for when I buy cards from other people. So that includes the Shadowless PSA Shadowless Charizard. We're going to start all of the bids for all the cards at $1 or lower if we can. I think the lowest I can go is $1 on eBay. Maybe I can go to a penny, and we're going to go from there. I will drop a video on this channel when I've started that. That will be happening soon, because I would like to try and continue to buy more OMC shares. That's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. However, hashtag AMC, Big Daddy Silverback out.